Let's play a Mistcaller in the sideboard. I think I'm interested in that. Open to Phelia, a One Ring. I don't know if those are still worth anything. Yeah, but a Mistcaller to help against this. You can also bring it against Goryo. Seems fine. Yeah, great match. I thought we played pretty good. Interesting that we didn't see a single Eldraine card from them. We could maybe go down to Sanctifier, just have one less. Like Sanctifier is covering some of our bases against Gorios, and Mistcaller now gives us an additional sideboard card there. I don't really feel like we can very comfortably cut the second Ashiok or the fourth Consign or maybe we can because we have the Serenades for we have the Serenades for Neoform and Titan, but I kind of do just want 5 sideboard cards for these matchups. Although the Mistcaller is now also good against Neoform. So it's like we have 6 sideboard cards for that matchup, or 5. I really wouldn't hate it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go down to Sanctifier. Yeah, GG's Flave. That was a great match. Yeah, let's go down to Sanctifier. Yeah, we lost, unfortunately. What does Kirol take the place of in a typical quantum energy list? I'm not 100% sure because like I haven't been playing just the stock list since I've been playing Aang, and I don't think most people play Aang, but I think Aang is really good. I think Thraben Charm is like kind of Aang is kind of taking the place of Thraben Charm, and then I guess I'm not sure exactly what else. I've just spent too much time deviating. Is it Mistcolor bad versus living in because you lose your board too? Maybe that's true. Oh, back up deck. At the very least, it's just nice to have something that's pretty good against them. Could it have been better to not cut Kirol? It seems. Yeah, I mean, Kirol was a big part of the reason why we just outgrinded them game 1. I think it's just like a 3 mana, no ETB card though is going to be so bad against them. Is this? Oh, I didn't cut the Sanctifier. I see. Probably keeping this on the draw. It's hard to mulligan Phelia Riddler. Durantith is probably the best card in answering living in. I mean, this just being tutorable by Shepherd's a pretty big dealio. Also good against Neoform. Yeah, but maybe Mistcaller is not good. I think it's worth trying. You can cast Recross, next turn cast Village Rites to draw 2 cards to Grissom. Oh, so you just have to have a creature in play already for that to work then? How did Meek Attack Titan do? I think we 2-2'd. I think it looked pretty interesting overall. It definitely is one I wanted to play some more of. I almost thought about playing that as a sideboard card. All right. Sorry, I forgot to put the hand hider up because they took so long to get here. I'm just gonna play the Pride turn 1 to block the Ragavan, I guess. Despite having Phelia Riddler. Will Containment Priest work? Has some nice synergy with Phelia. It also has some anti-synergy with Ephemerate. But again, Mistcaller is tutorable by Shepherd, which is just the reason to play it. Could also maybe board it in this matchup, just counter a Phelia trigger, counter a Ephemerate trigger, but it's also in play, so how often does it get to do that? I don't know. So maybe they have their own copy of Phelia here. We could keep that and then go Shepherd into basic planes, cast Guide of Souls next turn. Let's not. No Phelia is interesting. They keep a card on the top. So they target the cat token to get in with the Ragavan, or they target the Pride. They target the Pride. All right, so we can just play Phelia. That seems like it's okay because it doesn't seem like my opponent has a lot of interaction here. Yeah, I think if my opponent wasn't just so telegraphed at not have, I mean, I also telegraphed the Phelia too hard, but I don't think they have Galvanic Discharge. At least like they didn't have it in their hand before this turn probably. Maybe they have Consign. It doesn't seem like they could maybe have Solitude. They could maybe have another Flage. Teferi's kind of a disaster. Do I Solitude the Ragavan now? So if they bounce the cat token, it's a little bit awkward. If they bounce the Phelia, I will not have wanted to have Solituded. Seems like I should probably just do it. The rare Shepherd for planes. You get planes off Shepherd more than you get it almost all the time if you have Ephemerate and just not another land. Kirol seems sweet in the Celestial Gearhulk deck. Yeah, you could play it there too. For sure. Pretty similar to this build, of course. So we do find land number 3. So they Solitude this. I think that this means that they are likely trying to escape the Flage next turn. How do I want to deal with that? Warp Riddler? A little bit weird to just Warp Riddler, not put a threat into play. I just play Phelia, so this way next turn, if they escape the Flage, I can have Kirol in play, which will be enough to kill the Teferi. Phelia won't be. So they Warp a Riddler, they tap their white sources. Then they play an Arena of Glory. Then they tap red, untap. Then play another Riddler. So we'll see. They draw now a bunch of cards. We'll see if they found a Galvanic Discharge or Solitude white card. They did not have a Discharge earlier this game, of course. So do think I want to start by warping Starfield Shepherd for basic planes. Then probably warping Riddler to flicker with Phelia so that if they do haste Flage with Arena of Glory, they can't kill 2 things. They can only kill 1 things. Although, if I guess if this works too, then we do have the Solitude up. You shut the new elementals could be playable in Omna Shell, maybe Helga shenanigans. We've played Ferocious. I also, this is the problem with you trolling every other comment when. Like I don't know. I look at your username and I'm like, oh, I just ignore. But we have played some new Elemental Omnath with Karuga too, and definitely fine. Nothing too exciting. Not sure that they end up making the cut in the long run. So they can surveil any card in the yard here to be able to Flage. Any Meek Attack in the work using Duretti or Narset? I want to build Narset. I don't know about Duretti. Duretti is just kind of too castable because you end up getting to play Ugin's Labyrinth with Duretti. So they may end up targeting the Quantum Riddler because they want to kill it with the haste, and if that happens, that's obviously great for me. They do target the Phelia, so let's go ahead and I think we're pitching second Phelia. So if we draw a land, we can copy the Starfield Shepherd ETB trigger. Oh, they've got a Strix Serenade. That's pretty bad. So now they'll target the bird token so I don't have a double block. All right, bad news. No double block. Takes 6 down to 14. Yeah, I thought about Esper Sentinel with Kirol. I do think there's something there. So if I guess I'm just gonna be resigned to being dead to a. Do I say I'm just dead to Ephemerate or a second Flage? I guess what's nice about not attacking with the Riddler is that will know if they have Ephemerate or second Flage because they have targeted me instead of Kirol, right? I forgot that they warped 2 Riddlers earlier. They don't haste a Riddler here, which is interesting. Gonna be a tough game to win. They do target the Kirol, so we're not gonna block. We do get past 2, and then we have a pretty easy turn now of Guide, Pride, Mockingbird, Warp Riddler, draw a bunch of cards. I guess we could warp the Riddler first. It seems pretty tough to imagine we wouldn't Mockingbird, but I'm trying kind of tough to imagine like what the downside is. I guess if I want a Mockingbird Guide of Souls instead of Ocelot Pride, that could be a downside. I think I'd rather target the Pride. Yeah, I think that the green white build can be good. Obviously, like we barely didn't trophy our very first league with the DAG. I think this build seems good too. I agree we could try it in the green white shell. They have a Consign. I think I missed the Ephemerate discourse earlier. No, that card's not playable. you know, that is I don't know why it's funny to think that the assumption that we've been talking about Ephemerate a bunch has happened. That card's not very good, I think. It enters tapped earlier. It competes with your other tap lands like Meticulous Archive. You want to play Witch Enchanter for some non-planes. Like it's I don't know. Like it could like I don't know. It's just so slow. It's like Mary has just never. It's never been good in modern. Period. It's never been a competitive card. We have played it sometimes, but it's never really been particularly good, and it continues to not be particularly good. Just entering tapped is too tough. Need to attack with the Sphinx to grow guide. Well, no, they can haste a second Riddler, which I feel like isn't that more of a problem? Maybe growing the Riddler is better. Abandoned Air Temple, possibly abandoned Air Temple. You would need to be playing it like over Witch Enchanter. You need to be playing another basic probably. Oh, you thought I had a Maria, not the Flagstones. Yeah, the Flagstones are to target with their own White Orchid Phantoms, and you can also copy the trigger with Kirol, which we did in an earlier Jeskai matchup, which was pretty good. All right, so they attack with their Flage. They've got 4 cards in their hand. They don't attack with the Riddler. They kill my Pride, so how do we feel about septuple blocking versus chump blocking here? I think I'm just gonna block with 6 instead of 7. So if they want to removal spell a cat, I think that's okay, and I think I'd rather them removal spell a cat to save Flage than I'd rather them kill a Pride here. Possibly unlocking Hasty Flage again, but I think that's kind of where we're at. They've got 4 cards in their hand. They play a Ragavan, worst card in the matchup. I am a little bit torn between casting I think I'm going to cast a Riddler from Warp, actually. Just take the opportunity with another Riddler in play to draw a bunch of cards. And then maybe attack, oh, they have Consign. Okay, do we attack this turn? I have not gained any life. I have not gained any life, which is a problem. Do I want to trade Riddlers? I don't know that I can afford to. I might need to double block Flage. Also, my opponent's on 14 minutes. It's game 1. This game is not ending anytime soon. That might end up being pretty relevant. We'll see. They graveyard a Fable so that they can haste another Flage. So if they send in with just Flage, we'll double block after they kill my 1-drops. If they send in with everything, We could choose to double block a Riddler potentially. If they said, and then take a hit from Ragavan. So this is an option. Take 12. It's a bit high. This seems like a fine option also. Do you ever brew on stream? Has it gone poorly in the past? We brew sometimes on stream, just mostly when the inspiration strikes us, or if we've been having a conversation and it feels interesting. It's not something we do that often, and almost never do we just go, today we're brewing on stream, but it just kind of happens naturally, or it doesn't happen. So let's go Phantom. I think target my own. Well, I have I actually have only one planes left in the deck. So we'll target their arena. Then warp a Riddler, draw 4. But typically, I think the stream is more interesting when we brew on stream or off stream. Sorry. Yeah, I guess I'll just cast 2 prides. If one of them eats a flayed sugar, that's okay. We are dead now to another flage or dead to a ephemerate. We are dead to this. And they just got to draw a bunch of extra cards. So it seems like we're gonna be down a game. However, my opponent did use 12 minutes game 1. We'll see if they go for the Flicker Flage line. They do sit in with everything. You die. He blink Flage with Phelia. Yeah, I'm making and then my opponent just didn't do that here, you know. They target my Riddler and they target the Phantom. So now we go block. Yeah, we're alive, aren't we? Barely. So my Riddler comes back. I draw another land. I also draw my last planes. Spike, it seems like you prefer to stick to 2 colors despite Modern having such good mana. Do you think the third life lost their color is pretty real opportunity cost? It's not the life lots, it's Surveil lands. Surveil lands changed how you want to think about, or not think about, but fetch lands changed the meta to be more 2 color instead of 3 color because you just want to be more consistently getting your Surveil end of turn. Like the third color makes it harder for some reason, or harder than you might think. Oh, I did have another fountain in the deck. So I'm going to go for Warp Riddler, looking for Solitude. Hopefully we can Solitude Ephemerate. If not, we can get one more look here. But yeah, so obviously you can play 3 color. We're playing against a 3 color deck right now, but the Surveillance really make 2 color feel much smoother. It's worth a lot more to do that now, I think, than it used to be. Okay, so we're going to bring in the White Orchid, the Sanctifiers. I think we're going to move away from the White Orchid Phantoms again. I don't know if I want to try Mistcaller to like counter an Ephemerate or a Phelia. It does sound kind of fun. You want to keep all the Aangs. Ashiok, it's good. I think Ashiok can be good. You know, we have a couple Sanctifiers to clean up Flages. The problem with Ashiok is it's good when you're ahead and it's bad when you're behind. And I feel like, you know, a card that's only good when the board is clear or you're ahead on board is a card that I don't like having in these matchups because it is it can just be a losing play. If they blink Flage, they lose to double life string block and dog. Ah, you're right. Okay, fair enough. Maybe missed over 1 Strix. Yeah, maybe. You know, I guess we should just test the tech, right? Let's just try it. Even if I like am evaluating it as being maybe a little less than good, I think just trying it's probably fine. I really don't like how it just kind of sits in play and then your opponent you never get your opponent with it, or you shouldn't never get your opponent with it. Okay, we don't have any blue mana. We're on a Molda 6. They're on a Molda 6. Do we go to 5? I think we're a Quantum Riddler deck, so mulling to 5 is just probably fine. Yeah. So -1, and then probably just put back. I boarded out my. I boarded out my Phantoms, but I think second Flagstones is still kind of valuable anyways. I will keep the land, but if we saw a good spell on top, we could just choose the Starfield Shepherd for the land instead. Do I think we would know to a Squelcher? Yeah, what is Squelcher? Can I explain how Mistcaller works? If they Ephemerate or Phelia something, you can sacrifice Mistcaller to stop it. Do you think Aang and Flickwisp fill the same slot? I'm one of the which Enchanter Flickwisp sickos. Yeah, I don't think I would ever really play Flickerwisp in this shell, but I think Aang is really good and it's been really good, really consistently for me. Okay, so Hexing Squelcher. What was it with Belcher? Oh, with Winota. Okay, don't mind that so much. I don't know. The problem with Winota is that is removal spells more so than counter spells. But maybe. Might be better to try to Aang Phelia, but I think, we're just in a spot where Riddler can maybe be a draw too. You want to do this pre-combat so that if your opponent serenades, you can kind of comfortably attack with the bird token. But if they don't, Phelia main phase, I think it's good to keep the bird token back for this turn at least. So if they have Phelia Riddler, you at least get to block the Riddler or the Phelia and not just be dead. Because otherwise we're just dead. Mistcaller doesn't have flash, so they just Solitude evoke, trigger on the Mistcaller, you sack, respawn to Ephemerate. Do you mean a different line? Well, Solitude's not the only card that they Ephemerate. But that's true. It's not good against Solitude Ephemerate. But I get Phelia Flicker, and Ephemerate Riddler does stop, right? Doesn't Phelia just make the bird? No. Lesson learned. So let's see what the top card of my library is. It's a Starfield Shepherd. Pretty interesting. I suppose the list is usually for Consign to Ephemerate. I mean that's fair. I don't think is that really any different from what I said? Or I guess I'm a little confused. So they have a Galvanic Discharge, which I guess we should be airbending so that we can keep a Guide of Souls in play here. Or maybe we just airbend the Guide of Souls and keep a Guide of Souls in our hand. So that would mean we would just have like a 1/1 Mockingbird token in play, which isn't doing anything. No, the bird would still be a 1/1. Let's target the discharge. Like they have to spend 2 mana on it. And we'll still have a Guide of Souls either way. I think the 1/1 is just not worth anything. Why do you think Mockingbird isn't in more lists? Does Boros Energy not have the room in the list? Well, I think splashing a whole color for it's just not ever going to be worth it for Boros Energy. That's the 2 mana Galvanic Discharge the Aang. Yeah, if you're already splashing like Consign, yeah, but you wouldn't just splash a whole color for Mockingbird. But yeah, Mockingbird only goes in Guide Pride lists. And like this is the one where it's easy to play, especially with Starfield Shepherd, and not easy to play in the other one. So the Galvanic Discharge as an energy ritual to wipe the board here. Do I Starfield Shepherd for basic planes? I think so. Got to get the Riddler online to get back into this, I think. What was my favorite shell for Enigma Jewel? We had like a mono blue Tron build. Well, it was Tron, but you could Enigma Jewel your signets to use like that as a mana engine, or use Tron as a mana engine, and that was always really fun. I wouldn't play it now though, now that you have Ugit's Labyrinth and K Command. What was this supposed to be instead? Or what could this what were we thinking about playing instead? Another Aang. Don't know how good another Aang would be here. Probably not that good. I'll take a draw step. We're probably losing this one. Did win this matchup last league. Going to be a long granny game. Really dependent on who sticks more Riddlers. Mulling to 5 like we did is tough. Although, that is the best top deck. I would live the Kirol. Yeah, Kirol's been really good. We almost trophied our first league. Kirol was good the whole league. Still probably going to lose, but again, this was our best top deck, the Sanctifier. Put a mountain in their yard and play Arid Mesa. Even life totals here. Yeah, it does seem like third Aang would be a lot better than the Mistcaller here. We Aang the hardcast Riddler potentially. They target my bird token. They have a Riddler in the warp zone, and they've got 2 other cards in their hand here. So we're going to be dead to a removal spell or counter spell for the Shepherd. Not technically dead to that. But we'll need like we'll need to draw like Quantum Riddler into Ephemerate to be alive, I think. Because we know they've got another Riddler. They're also going to draw an extra card on their draw step here. We just added the Mistcaller. We cut a Sanctifier for it. There. So we have Solitude Ephemerate. We have double Pride if we don't draw the second land. If we do draw a second land, we can Starfield Shepherd for a third. I'm going to try to keep this, I think, on the play. I checked Moxfield and you haven't played Inquisitor since August. Was it underwhelming? I actually honestly thought it was good when we played Lightstall Inquisitor. I just think that there were better options. But I was pretty impressed with Inquisitor the whole time. I do think like I ended up cutting them for Thraben Charms mostly, but it was also better when we were playing more Mockingbirds. But it definitely wasn't bad. I just didn't think it was optimal. I think I'd maybe just play It's a Fairy Time Raveler. Yeah, maybe it's a fairy. Although it's not Mistcaller being it's tutorable by Starfield Shepherd. Oh, they're playing the Cosmogoyf deck. It's fun. Is this matchup? It's probably insanely good just because we gain the life gain on our part is makes their deck really hard to function. We'll see. We'll see. Why Unholy Heat over Fatal Push? Unholy Heat kills Flage, Quantum Riddler, Karn the Great Craters. I killed an Ugin yesterday. Kills Primeval Titan. Kills. It just kills everything. I guess we pitch the 3-drop on the 1 land hand here. All right. Well, fast game 1. So Sanctifier blocks Cosmogoyf. Let me see how many basics they're playing. 1. So probably keep in the Phantoms. Aang seems good. Probably cut Mockingbird. Maybe just on the draw against the turn 3 combo deck, Kirol is just not going to be shining. I think that makes sense. They do have a Leyline Scion in the board. I have Aang, I guess, and Witch Enchanter to not like overcompensate for that. Hard to mulligan a Solitude against them. They mull to 6. They just mull so aggressively. Bolt to 5. Then they Serum Powder away a Cosmic Wave. It's gotta hurt to Serum Powder away Cosmic Wave. Although they could have bottomed it, so maybe they had 3 Cosmic Waves? Yeah, you can bottom. Okay, then they just mulligan. Turn 0 win. Wouldn't usually want to like get Pixie to pick it up to warp it again for 2, because warp is like a built-in Pixie. Mulligan, the 1-lander. Let's keep this. I think we're gonna put back the Phelia. This is the second league today. It's been slow. What makes Strix Serenade good? Hard to counter enough problematic cards and ability to deal with the bird. We can deal with the bird easily is one thing, but it's really good against Titan and Neoform, and those are 2 of your hardest matchups with these kind of decks. And it's we don't have enough blue cards for subtlety, and yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, how often are you gonna play Thoughtseize and Wand in the same deck? Assuming no specific card in their hand, you always take Guide over Pride. No, so I'll say this every time I get this kind of question. Assuming no specific card in hand, always do this. It's like this is just. I think it's bad. It's bad habits to try to make formulas like this in Modern. I think it is in your best interest to not try to make a formula chart for something like Thoughtseize. Always take Guide over Pride. Like you're gonna take the Pride if you don't have a removal spell, like almost all the time. Like they take the Pride here. It will always depend on what's in your hand and what the rest of the cards are. It will always be the case. So I really just do caution you against shout out Mistcaller. I do caution you against having any kind of always do this or that flow chart. I'm assuming you're in the play. Which you play first? Pride, Guide, or Ragavan? It depends on how many lands you have. It depends on if you know the matchup or not. But in theory, Ragavan. But that depends on do you know the matchup? What other lands are in your hand? It just always depends. Yeah, I'm just gonna play Kirol this turn, even if it's a little bit slow. We do technically have copy Solitude up, not that it's going to be the most relevant. And so, a lot of times you'll hear people when you're talking about magic cards, they'll go, in a vacuum, do you do this? And it is just never right to think about it that way, in my experience. It just is better to think about things individually. So getting kind of low on cards here, but I think we got to Solitude the Riddler. Now, we maybe get punished for copying the Guide of Souls trigger last turn, because now we can't copy the Solitude trigger, although I don't know how often that's going to be important. Maybe if they had Consign, it would be important there. Or I guess another Ephemerate it would also be good against. So we could have played around that, although we did not get punished. We're going to top deck our own Quantum Riddler. Now I think I'll copy just so we'll have enough energy for next turn to jump again. Definitely not the best use of Kirol. Yeah, the only vacuum you should be thinking of. Oh, I guess we get the double jump this turn. The only vacuum you should be thinking of is Bissell. That's kind of cool. So they graveyard a Thoughtseize. They've got 4 cards in their hand. They also have a Riddler and Warp. Thankfully, the Kirol is big enough to get through Riddler, I suppose. They main phase Mending out. No, they do have another Goryo's in their hand. Discard Goryo's this early without one, so we really do not want to see a Traxa hit the yard. It's funny, Gavin. It's seeming like they don't have a... Yeah, they discard a Goryo's, they discard a Flooded Strand. Then they evoke a Solitude, pitching an Ephemerate. Get to gain 7 life. And then they don't have another white card or an Ephemerate, but they do have a Quantum Riddler to draw 2. And it seems like they don't have the 5th land. So a land is good because of Starfield Shep, and then spells are good. This is obviously the best spell all the time. I've been playing a bunch of Reckless Moonshadow. I find myself getting destroyed by Black Blue. We were beating them up yesterday. Just got control, Domain, Yawgmoth. Yeah, I guess I don't know what to tell you, but I feel like all those are matchups you can tweak and adjust a little bit for. All right, so they do have a Force of Negation and a Frog as their last 2 cards. They do also have 2 Quantum Riddlers in the Warp Zone. I'm going to graveyard this Hallowed Fountain, get in for 2. Now, we don't really want our opponent to draw an untapped land. It's not the end of the world that they do. Get better than. I would just say that none of those matchups I would expect to just get destroyed in. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. I think they're all fine. I think you can both, learn the matchup and tweak your 75 for those matchups if you feel like you're expecting them a lot. So far, like Tron / Green Red Eldrazi has felt like the hardest for me. Not something like this, but is this deck interested in? Is Kirol a resto like Flicker effect and another creature infinite ETBs? I 2 Feldar Guardians is, and then I think if you go Feldar Guardian on Kirol, you can copy the trigger, but then you would need to you could copy the Feldar Guardian trigger on any other creature, I believe. I think that's how it works. All right, well, this already has a flying counter, so we'll get in with, I guess we could technically attack with both. Attacking with both does tax the graveyard. I used to play a ton of Legacy. At one point, Legacy was my main format. 12-3'd my first Legacy GP with Miracles. I played Ant at the only Legacy Pro Tour. But I used to play a bunch of like Legacy Ant challenges, but I've not played much Legacy on stream in recent years. And they decide that they'd rather keep 3 cards in their yard instead of take 1 damage, but it's probably wrong. Okay, so up a game, winning game 1 against Goryo's is obviously a pretty big deal. We don't have a lot of sideboard cards for the matchup. We're going to bring in the Sanctifiers and the Mistcaller, and then Consign on the Atraxa trigger is very good if they don't have Ephemerate. It's not very good if they don't. It also can be good against. I think we'll play like 2 Consigns. Any plans on a Mardu Moonshadow list? Well, what would the white be for compared to the Rakdos build? I don't really feel like I would be that interested in playing it for anything besides like sideboard cards, probably. First Ashiok, probably fine. It's probably fine, I agree. It's like, the thing is, it's not very good against Goryo's, right? They just go end of turn discard or Psychic Frog discard into Goryo's, or respond to the Ashiok minus with Goryo's. I think it's not very good on the draw at the very least. I'm gonna cut a Phelia. They fetch a lot though. Yeah. Okay, listen. If like the fetch land thing for Ashiok was a good enough reason to play it, it just would be a main deck card. But it's just like, imagine your opponent has a Psychic Frog and all you have is Ashiok, you just lose. I guess we're going to 5. Not a very good 5, but it's the 5 we have. I do like weekend Starfield Shepherd from Moon Mistcaller. It's 3 land on the draw. 3 land on the draw in a combo matchup is pretty different from 3 lands on the draw in a regular matchup. Although they are also pretty grindy, which is the problem, I guess. Yeah, we did get to Legend Rule Flagstones and copy it with Kirol. It's kind of fun. Burb with the Twitch Prime. Thank you. Welcome back. Or welcome for the first time. May just get run over on the mulligan here. I think the Strixers are worth it too, especially if they have green mana. Play this matchup a ton. And found I stopped their combo usually, but it was just hard to outgrind Riddlers. Yeah, maybe. I could definitely see that. I'll say, of course, always very helpful to suggest what you're cutting for the Serenades, though. They've got the Ephemerate. I think I'll just scoop to Ephemerate, probably. Think on our mull to 5, getting 2 for 1, then we lose the Phelia also. Let's just go to game 3. So as far as Serenade goes, I do think countering Riddler, countering Solitude is kind of nice. Maybe they're better than the Consigns on the play. Maybe we could go down 1 Aang. I kind of like Aang against Frog early though. But let's do this. Serenade can also counter Frog, of course. And we'll keep this 7 on the play. Stunlock with the 18 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Yeah, I thought about playing Kirol with Hellkite, and I didn't think about Roku or Showdown. It's kind of interesting. But I feel like I kind of like how this plays, where Kirol is more the top of the curve. It's kind of tough to play a 3-drop, and then you're like, okay, just wait till I cast my 4-drop next turn. Then my 3-drop will really pop off. I like playing it with like the 1 and the 2 drops. So it looks like they have a Fatal Push. If I had Shadow Frog Vial to 1 Shitong, am I making an incredible mistake or just not what I would do? It sounds like an incredible mistake to me to play for Vial to just get to play a bunch of 1 and 2 drops. Just Vial's not very good at. It's not like very good when that's what you're doing with it. Oh, sorry, I should have. I just yielded till end of turn and a split second too early, and I realized I shouldn't because of Thoughtseize, and then we get our Ephemerate Thoughtseize instead of the Phelia, which is also a little surprising. Now my opponent also weirdly they played Godless Shrine untapped, and then they didn't Fatal Push, and they didn't Thoughtseize. So did they have Fatal Push for Phelia and they were just holding it? I don't. Maybe this is just overly cautious, but I don't mind just waiting a turn on the Phelia. Yeah, it could be Ephemerate Solitude, that's true. Did the Moto window get resides to hide opponent's clock and cards in hand? Oh. Oops. The thing is, yeah, if it's Solitude Ephemerate, I just have my own Solitude, so it's not really that bad, is it? They pitched an Ephemerate. They know I have Solitude white card, but they also know those are my last 2 threats. So I end up maneuvering around this pretty well, I guess. So they're going to have 3 cards in their hand, drawing up to 4. I just have the 1. But maiming blue-white wicket, iterating on it. I'll say Kirol has been good. I would recommend Kirol. Definitely looks like a list you spent a lot of time on. The key to this deck, though, is top deck and Quantum Riddler. Four Witch Enchanters feels maybe a little high. Maybe it's good. All right, Kirol not so good on the empty board. Can't copy fetch lands. It's only triggered abilities. So they have 4 cards in their hand. 3 of them are for sure spells. Now, 4 of them are for sure spells. May just have a 2-turn clock here. A lot of insane top decks with Kirol. Aang is not too bad. Now, do I ever want to copy the airbending? I think on an empty board, no, especially when this is just a 2-turn clock. I have no Surveil lands left, but yes, I know I could copy the Surveil land. Yeah, you could play Idyllic Grange. No one will ever play around it, which is like the big upside, but... I don't know if that's enough. maybe it's enough. Okay, well, 3 mana 3/3. Let's go 2 and 1. Yeah, I can't really mulligan. Pride into Phelia Shepherd on the draw with Solitude up especially. Do I play around random Mardu with Thoughtseize by playing the Witch Enchanter? I guess so. Boromir for a sideboard slot? Question mark, question mark. We have played Boromir in the past. Boromir's fine. You can play it. Certainly on the option list. This is more Jeskai, I guess. I think I'm going to keep the second Phelia. A bit low volume today, maybe. I haven't changed any settings. They have Ragavan number 2. It's a bit annoying, I guess. Probably just going to take the hit from the Ragavan. See how bad this goes for me. Do you think MTG... There's a Starfield Shepherd. MTG design has overlooked color pie when designing push creatures like Quantum Riddler, which has a green body and blue effects. Has this design ethos led green to be a fringe or a color combo? Yeah, so what it is kind of interesting, but yeah, green just doesn't get big creatures. It's kind of weird. I don't know if it's like a color pie thing or how much, but yeah, like it is true. Blue gets the biggest creatures in Magic. I don't know why. Like blue gets like Murktide Regent. It's just the biggest card. It just gets Quantum Riddler. It gets Uro and Psychic Frog too. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's odd. When like I can't even think of I can't even think of just like a dumb big green creature that sees competitive play. Yeah, a Born Oculus also just why what it doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't think I'm blocking. Yeah, I guess that's why blue is the main character. So they flip a Solitude. If their last card's a white card, they could evoke it. It's not okay. Titan. Well, Titan's 6 mana though. It's like all the big green creatures are like 6+ mana, or maybe not all of them, but the majority of them, which just isn't as, like you just don't get like 2 to 3 mana giant creatures like blue does. It's very weird. A bit worried about the Flage over there. If they attack with Ragavan, it's kind of like do I not block the Ragavan so they can't escape the Flage? I guess, they could still escape the Flage with the fetch land anyways. Do I Ephemerate the Starfield Shepherd here? Let's not. So I want to play the Phelia this turn so I could flicker the Flage to get it off the field, maybe. So I guess I'm gonna go Mockingbird, hold up Phelia or Ephemerate. Maybe we should just be ephemerating what they target. I'm really not sure. Yeah, I think we don't, so that way we can just save the ephemerate for the shepherd in our hand. Although maybe I'm just still holding the ephemerate, right? Because I can blink the shepherd. Yeah, let's do that. Oh no, sorry, I'm blinking the Phelia. Classic. Still, I think we're gonna do this and target the Flage, and then jump the Phelia, and then jump the Starfield Shepherd. And if they want to kill this Ocelot Pride, I think I'll probably just let that go instead of ephemerating the Pride. No, we lost games 2 and 3 to Living End, unfortunately. I guess I'll just ephemerate the Shepherd. Yeah, we'll do that actually. And so they're gonna get to kill something with Flage, go to 5 life, and then it really, I guess that we really spent too much time on this maybe, because do they have a Wrath of Skies? If so, they'll win almost for sure, and if they don't, we will win almost for sure. Okay, they probably don't have Wrath of Skies if they're playing a Ragavan. Now Ragavan has looked awful in this matchup so far, but also all of our opponents have kept the Ragavans in, which I think is interesting. We did play this matchup earlier. I did not like the Mistcaller, so I'm going to be excluding them. But I think I want to be a little bit more in on the Serenades. Was not ephemerating better if they did have Wrath? I think it's better to ephemerate because you get a creature in your hand, you get a Pride in your hand. Not the biggest deal either way. I think the upside of turn 1 Ragavan, turn 2 hit Guide Pride, or maybe Riddler is really high. I agree. So I'm not saying for sure it's wrong to have it in. I just think it's interesting that it's looked really bad and they've kept it in. Do I even play the guide here? I think let's not. It's kind of weird, but I think just giving them the discharge target turn 1's bad when I only have one creature. I might want to ephemerate to save the guide. I think we can just chill. So I might want to Solitude Ephemerate, so we'll continue to chill here, I think. You almost always seem to do really well with Rakdos decks. Yeah, I think we do pretty well with Rakdos. I think it's an underrated color combo. But yeah, it does look like we'll play the Rakdos Shadow deck on Friday, although I mean this deck's going well too. We still have most of the week left. Okay, well I was about to tutor that. I guess we'll just play an Archive. Another Guide of Souls. Probably just say no to that. Weird game. I agree Halia was really good. You know, to some extent we got to test Kirol. Kirol has also been really good. do feel like if I play the Guide of Souls here, it will just die to Flage. Is that okay? I guess it's I'm okay with it. I'm also pretty happy if it dies to Discharge instead of Flage here, which they might be itching to use a Discharge. Yeah, because then that clears the way for Phelia. Right, so they put a Flooded Strand in the graveyard, then they play a tapped Hallowed Fountain. Do I run out Phelia? I think probably not without a warp creature in hand. Like the best case scenario here is I frustrate my opponent into casting a Flage before they get any value off of it. Do I want to use a Serenade now? I think no. I think I would kind of prefer maybe if the Phelia being in play incentivizes my opponent to go for Quantum Riddler, which I'd rather Serenade, and this also gives me maybe something good to like hardcast Solitude end of turn. Although I don't know if I want to hardcast Solitude without the Ephemerate or another Serenade up. I think I will hardcast the Solitude here. Let me know if you would just wait a turn or not. So do I go for Riddler Ephemerate or do I try to Phelia first? Let's try to Phelia first. Any thoughts to porting over some of the older legacy Esper Vial decks? Now that we have most of the cards in Modern, seeing you enjoy Vial right now. I've been working on mid-range value Vial. I'll also say that like just trying to port a deck from Legacy into Modern isn't really a thing. At least for me, I just have spent 7 years brewing in Modern. I kind of know what works and doesn't without trying to take ideas from Legacy, probably. But I have been working on a value Vial. All right, so we play the Phelia. They got 4 cards in their hand. Aang is an interesting draw. The trigger's on the stack. What would you do if I sang you a song? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ear and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. I don't think I could pass up on this, even if it taps me out of Serenade. I want to copy the Phelia trigger so bad here. Do I flicker the bird token or do I trade bird token for Phelia? I think I'll just flicker the bird. Yeah, but I wanted to go Kirol, attack with Phelia, copy the Phelia trigger, exile the bird token, and flicker the Riddler. Very interesting to me that my opponent let the Quantum Riddler resolve instead of using Strix Serenade. Would not have really expected that at all. So at this point, I think I'll try to block the Phelia with my Phelia. It's a little weird. Boros such a Johnny. What is the pull the blue energy just Riddler? Yeah, Riddler is insane. What do you mean just Riddler? And then when you play Riddler, you get to play Ephemerate and Phelia. And also, Aang is also really good, but what do you mean just the best card draw spell of the format? Yes, that one. Yeah, but Riddler also just enables the Phelia and Ephemerate in a way that you can't really get in Boros. All right, so trade Phelias. We're both top decking. We both got 2 cards. I guess I have 3 cards in their hand, or in my hand. And then they've got 2. I draw an Ocelot Pride, which we'll play. Very good chance we're gonna flip Aang this game. tap Steam Vents, and then gonna keep the bird token back to block, I imagine. Cast Aang. Goodbye, sweet bird. Turn 10, transforming Aang. I guess I do have to tap the Pride and not get a token. That's fine, probably. Do I think Riddler or Ephemerate needs a ban? It's a really complicated question since you may not remember, but before Riddler and Ephemerate decks became pretty prominent, the only mid-range deck you could play was Boros Energy. It was very difficult to play Control as well because the Boros Energy cards were like so efficient. Even post Ring, Raptor, Giganta ban, even post these bans, they were too efficient. So I have really enjoyed how Quantum Riddler has just given you a way to play fair strategies that are good against Boros, and it to me doesn't seem like you could really possibly address. It doesn't seem like you could possibly address that issue, the issue of Riddler Ephemerate, without addressing the Boros problemo. Interesting, they're hasting Quantum Riddler here. Like I just think there's like several problematic things that are a lot more worthy of addressing a ban than Riddler Ephemerate. Does this give trample or this has trample and does it only puts the counter? Okay. I think they're just dead on board right now, aren't they? I mean, they could have something else, but yeah, they're currently dead to this attack. I like to see some bans next week. I agree. Yeah, I like. There's a lot I would love to see change next week, but Wizards still seems more or less uninterested in adjusting the format. So I guess I should airbend the Riddler. Could also airbend the Ephemerate. Probably a bit better to do this. Yeah, there's a ban announcement next week. Wizards has been so inactive in Modern, I just don't really want to even talk about. Like, if they do something great, if they don't, like, they haven't done anything in almost a year. I just don't feel like I don't feel like whining about bans at the moment. They have a discharge as the mystery card? No way, dude. Okay, they started to pay costs and then okay, no, they're trying to cast the no, they're trying to cast a Riddler. They don't have discharge. They would have I guess they couldn't have discharged in response. So they can absorb 3 damage, take 6, go to 1. So them ephemerating the Riddler did save them for this turn. They must block Ocelot Pride. Go to 1. And then being at 1 when we get 2 extra cat tokens is going to be pretty scary for them. They surprised us last year with Opal bans. Yeah, and they've been just completely inactive in the format since the Breach ban, which was March of last year. Which is like since I've been streaming, this has been the longest time since they've taken action on the ban list my entire streaming career. But things have been not like they haven't been like super bad or anything. They've just been stagnant. I found Wrath. Probably lose to Wrath here unless we top deck a Riddler. Dang. They do kill their own Fable. Yeah, I think we should warp here. Ugh. So unlucky. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter a lot, but I am out of fetchables. We could have used the Flagstones as a Lotus Petal later. So they're at 1. I'm at 9. They've got 2 cards in their hand. I've got just an Arid Mesa, but a Riddler in the Warp Zone. I'm down to 5 life now. Jeez. All right, so Warp Riddler first. Maybe Hardcast Riddler first makes more sense. It's probably not a big deal either way. Yeah, no, I know we should have played a land. We should have played the Arid Mesa instead because we could have Lotus Petaled with the Flagstones like this turn. Probably don't have that many lands left in the deck. Only playing 21. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Ugh. So now we're committed to go into 1 next turn. Guess that was this card was a good reason to have hardcast the other Riddler first, maybe. We're dead to Flage. They play an Arena of Glory, 2 other cards in hand. Prismatic Ending on the Sanctifier. Makes sense for them to have a Prismatic Ending stuck at the hand. 1 life, not quite 0 life, as it turns out. Notably, they are going to start drawing extra cards off their Riddler unless I can find a Solitude or something. So now we're out of Flage range. I guess not really because they just play an Escape Flage and kill me. Doing pretty good if they don't find Flage or Wrath the Skies, though, since we're going to have a bunch of lethal creatures here. This is also enough life if they can kill my Riddler to not die to their Riddler or die to a hasty Riddler off the arena. They found the Flage, and we are going to game 3. Okay, on the play for game 3. You know what? I think Aang is really good against Wrath because they have to X equals 0 when they play it again, so I think we should just have it in. As far as maybe cutting Phelia 4 since kind of weak to removal. Sometimes bad to have 2 in your opener. It's good that game. Yeah, I started streaming when Modern Horizons 1 dropped. Maybe like a week after it dropped was the start of my streaming career. Not a great hand, but we do have 2 Riddlers in a matchup where this is the best card. So I guess we'll keep. Just kind of cold to a Ragavan. Okay, no turn 1 Ragavan's great news. The common Starfield Shepherd for a basic. Didn't you do a stream early on where you played Tron with a blocker on the screen so you couldn't see what you were doing? Yeah, that was today is my Twitch partner anniversary, and I did that to celebrate making Twitch partner. So we're gonna play the Kirol, and if they go Flage, kill Kirol, that opens me up to go Riddler plus Ephemerate. Also blocks Phelia if they just have Phelia Riddler. Can go wrong in a lot of ways though. Was Oko in Modern during MH1? Yeah, I can never remember if Throne if I can never remember which set came out first, MH1 or Throne of Eldraine. They came out so close together, I remember. So I'm down to 15. They do have the Solitude. Not really in that bad shape. We get to go Kirol, copy Riddler trigger next turn potentially. Have a Starfield Shepherd in the Warp Zone. Just need to avoid their own Riddler. Flage number 2 is not like the best thing ever. Yeah, this is our only. I think this is only our 3rd Jeskai matchup. Just inevitably, this matchup's going to be really long, and it's kind of going to feel like we played more of it than we have. They can escape the Flage next turn. think I'm likely enough to get a plains off the Starfield Shepherd. I want to get a fountain. Maybe that's too low my life total. Could really see getting a plains here though. Oko was legal during MH1. Well, was it legal before MH1 or like right after? That's obviously they were legal at the same time, but I just can't remember which came first. Oh, they have Arena, but they don't have enough cards to do this. They're missing a card. Oh my gosh. That's kind of big. That they surveil the card to the top, right? Okay, and then they haste a Solitude instead of hasting the Flage. Okay, that's pretty big. Although now they've got a 3/3 Phelia, so I guess I'll probably be airbending the Phelia this turn. Let's see what we draw. We draw an Ephemerate. So I think to play around Strix Serenade, which is kind of a likely card, we'll just go main phase airbend the Phelia. Look like a panic turn. I think they just got too excited. They said, oops, didn't scry into graveyard. Yeah. So if we airbend this, they can just immediately rewarp it. So I don't think we want to do that. Kind of obvious I have Ephemerate at this point. So don't probably took too long. Oh yeah, warp is only from the hand. That's right. So that should have airbended the Riddler. That might end up being a big mistake. Oh, but then they just hardcast it for 2. Yeah, of course. So I don't. I think that I kind of have to trade the Ephemerate there, and trading Ephemerate aggressively is not so bad. When I've got Riddler and Warp, of course. So now we just hold up all of our mana. We can Strix Serenade the Flage or the Hardcast Riddler. I might just want to airbend the Flage since that eats all the cards out of their graveyard. Is it better to let Phelia resolve? Then we can block and Ephemerate airbend it in combat. Well, I don't want to let them get the Phelia trigger if I'm planning on blocking it. They're just Wrath Disguising? Well, this is a big part of the reason why we have Aang in the matchup, because they can only Wrath Disguise X equals 0 after it's been airbent. Although they can Galvanic Discharge to get a jump there. They also have Phelia up. Don't know if they're going to Phelia in response here. Land would have been really nice. We didn't draw the land. Am I going to get paid off by going Starfield Shepherd for basic planes like I said I would all those turns ago? I think the answer is unfortunately no. Seems like the answer is no. Since we need to have Strix Serenade up really badly this turn. But it does seem like I can waterbend. Oh, sorry. I guess if I waterbend, I have to tap the Aang. Okay, I guess. Because we know they have Phelia, so I don't want to attack into the Phelia. Can you not Phelia plus exile Aang? Well, I can target the Aang, but what do I do with it? Because I won't get to airbend their Phelia because they'll just respond after my Aang comes back. So they don't play their Phelia, which is weird. Are they trying to cast Wrath from the Warp? They just have another Wrath. That's the game. They just had the other Wrath. That's true. We could transform Aang as an instant. Now we're not out of this yet. We still have a Quantum Riddler. Sorry, yeah, not game. We just cast Quantum Riddler. And they've got Serenade. So now maybe game. Yeah, very gross match. I will Serenade this now, I guess. Not sure that this was right. Maybe you're supposed to save it for the Riddler or the Phelia, but we're just so behind. All right, probably will save this to exile their Phelia here. An existence with the 5 years happy partner anniversary to you too. I guess I try to bait them into casting the Riddler so I can Solitude the Riddler and then block the Phelia with Solitude. Instead, their last card is another Quantum Riddler. So I think we're going to lose this game. It's nice that we're kind of still alive after the Wrath, but they also had Serenade into Riddler. So I don't feel like we were very alive after that. They can escape the Flage second main phase here. Although I guess they can do that also with the discharge. I mean, through Quantum Riddler, all things are possible. I'll jot that down. We didn't bring in Mistcaller. We had it in a earlier draft and then excluded it for this one. So we go to 1. Not 0. And we can top deck Quantum Riddler into Solitude Ephemerate. Or Flooded Strand. Okay, I'm going to go eat some lunch. I think Kirol looked good all day today. I wish that we had gotten to our backup deck also. We've got a lot in the Mox field to get to. Kirol was good. I think I would continue to play some number in Quantum Energy. I'm not sure how many. I definitely was, I think, impressive today's stream. I'm going to send y'all over to Doomwake. We have Mono Black Moonshadow, Asmo. Sorry, what's Jed's?